Doesn't necessarily always happen that way, so that's why the point margin's narrow. I'm not confident. 20 points to 18.
Now that we've both said that, I am fully expecting it to be like Hull KR 40, Saints 8.
It wouldn't blow my mind away if Hull KR scored more than 30 points and won by 20 points.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, Salford take on Huddersfield then down at the AJ Bell. This was a tougher one for me to pick than Saints Hull KR in a lot of senses, but just because both teams were so dour last week, the 2 points scored between two teams is not indicative of two teams coming into a round of fixtures against each other and scoring a lot of points. So, given their positions in the league, I'm going to go with the home side again. I'm going to go 16 points to 10 in favour of Salford. I think Salford will manage to score this week and perhaps might be less toothless in attack against a team that's probably, as likely to concede points as Leeds were, so who knows. But Huddersfield were very, very poor against Wakefield, so I think going to Salford is going to be a big ask for them. 16 points to 10, Salford.
Yeah, I'm pretty convinced Salford will win this one, to be honest. 28 points to 14. I'm going. The Huddersfield revival has obviously spluttered now, and it seemed like it was obviously a false dawn. They've still got players who can create stuff and get scores over on the board, but I think Salford at home have been very good. Kopchak and Griffin have been the equal of most opposition starting front rows when they've come up against them on their home patch this year, and those outside backs are big and dangerous. I know Huddersfield have got some strong players in those positions too, and Wardle was back in the centres last week, wasn't he? So that's that size, but Sal, Jones, Carney, Vido, if he gets to go at wing, which if he's fit, I don't know why he's not playing. It's weird. But I think that's what's going to happen.
I wonder if he's aggravated whatever injury it was that had him out for so long at the start of the season. Wakefield take on Leeds down at Bellevue this weekend, Mark. This was the one that was hardest to pick for me. Leeds are going into this on the back of a win and having nilled the team, which last season would mean that they were nailed on as the team that you would pick to win this one, but it doesn't feel that way for me. I'm going to go for a Wakefield win. At home, this would be a great way to lay a marker down. Unsure whether or not David Fafita will be there in time to make his debut, but Wakefield have got enough going on in the halves in terms of being consistent and performing and executing. They are more of a settled side. They're under no pressure whatsoever, really. And Leeds are just the victims of probably a very difficult period of time in the club's history. I'm going for a close one, 21 points to 18 in favour of the Wildcats.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was overwhelming for Leeds, was it, last week?
Exactly.
And Wakefield have been the better team for the better part of this year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of easy to lean their way when you're looking at what to predict. And so I'm going to go 22-16 in favour of the home side. And I think it might be more comfortable than that if they can get a lead up on this Leeds side in the first half. I also think that Wakefield will be itching to do a double over the big city rivals, who sort of look down on them from the shiny towers.
God knows what this is going to do to John Padgett, this result. Who knows which way this could send him, given his apparently newfound Wakefield fandom. Final game of the weekend then sees Castleford take on Hull FC down at the Menderhose Jungle. I'm going for a Hull FC win, quite a high scoring affair, 30 points to 20. Reason being, Hull FC are, ensconced themselves at the top of this table now. They're in good shape. They're definitely going to be in the finals, and they're winning these sorts of games. They're winning a game that, against harder opposition last week. Against harder opposition away from home last week. Castleford, if they do anything like they did against Widnes'd, will get absolutely spanked in this one. They can't afford to play 70 minutes of rugby like they served up against a struggling Widnes'd side to Hull FC. They'll get absolutely mud. I think they'll fix that up. I think they'll shore it in a little bit, but I still think that across the park Hull FC have got the stronger side with greater depth. Castleford, they're patching themselves up. McShane's in the halves, as we've alluded to. If the forwards don't win that battle, then it's difficult for Luke Gale to perform. It's difficult for them to lay any kind of platform. And whilst they've got some spark in terms of individual talented players, I think this Hull FC as a proposition, as a unit, are going to be too strong for Castleford. So I'm going to go, 30 points to 20 in favour of the Early Birds. Yeah. What say you?
I'm going to go for Castleford to win 30 points to 28.
What'd you base that on?
A whim.
Well, go on then, explain this whim.
I just think
Castleford are going to win, yeah?
Castleford are a good side who can turn it on the day, and, you know, if they've not had the day for a few weeks now...
Yeah, true.
So
the law of averages dictates they might win this one, I suppose.
And I also think, you know, Hull FC can't win them all. I don't believe there's anyone in Super League this year that's good enough to win them all.
True.
And it's an away game against a team that are comfortable playing on their own field. If they can get a roll on, if they can get quick play of the balls and force some of the sort of older players in this Hull FC side into conceding penalties potentially. I'm thinking people like the way Gadwin Springer's been running recently. I'm sure he can bring a few penalties out of the opposition. And I think they've got a few other players capable of doing that. Adam Milner out of dummy half can certainly do that. Jake Webster's playing well. Mike McMeekan's another option. And in terms of runs the ball really well, runs fast lines, finds his knees and gets up quick. He can cause that. And once you start winning penalties on that short pitch, you know, and if Luke Gale gets it right like he failed to last week, then they're a hard team to stop at home. So I just thought I fancy him.
Fair enough. Well, you've ended up making quite a strong case for them.
I mean, Hull FC are the best team in the league so far this year and do have a very strong defence and dominant pack, but it doesn't always work out that way.
No.
And maybe this is one of those games that goes a different direction.
There you go. Well, if you're out and about and want to keep in touch with everything that's going on this week, our friends at SL Clubs have got you covered on Twitter. And thanks again to @SL Clubs for their ongoing support of the podcast. They like to retweet things and get involved with us. So thank you, gents. Championship game of the week, Mark.
Well, there's only one place to go this week, isn't there? Sort of almost assuming Bradford will beat Oldham, which is a dangerous assumption the way Bradford are going at the moment. But assuming that, then we throw forward to Sunday and Bradford against Batley. That'll be third against fourth as that stands at that time. And this will be a critical blow in terms of that top four. With the games running down, after this there'll be, 4 games left after this by that point.
Well, look, if we don't win this game, we've still got to go to Leigh and go to Featherstone. So this is an important game, without a shadow of a doubt.
But it's equally significant for Batley, who could do the double over you guys after the goalpost.
The ghost goalpost. Yeah, great
the goalpost game earlier in the season. And what it'll also mean for them is they would be pushed on to, is it 25 points?
Yes.
And they would potentially be 5 points clear of the next team.
Yeah.
Which will be a big boost for them.
Which is massive. So no, it's going to be a barnstorming game, and this is perhaps the biggest test so far of Rowan Smith's young coaching career at Bradford Bulls as well. He's going to really need to have the boys on song. I think he's taking steps in the right direction by trying to manage the squad a little bit. So
with a home crowd who are going to be frustrated with recent results and performances as well.
Well, they might well be going into this game having just won 2 on the trot, Mark. So and he's got a bit of leeway. He's got a bit of leeway in the eyes of the fans.
Well, he should have.
He's only just been there a little while, hasn't he? And he's Brian Smith's boy, so we're all still behind him. But it is an important game for us to win, and I think our ambitions of at least making a decent showing of ourselves in the middle eights will take a big hit if we don't win. I have every faith in my boys, though. I think now that we've got an half back, well, we've got a standoff half, which will be interesting to see as a proposition. And I quite like. I'm going to go to this one. It's my little Father's Day present. I'm taking Erin down. So it'll be nice to see guys like Kieran Moss in the flesh as well, making his home debut as well. I'm going to go for a Bulls win, 28 points to 18.
Yeah, I think Bradford will win. I think it'll be a close one, but I think Bradford will finally sort themselves out and stop losing these close games like they have been doing recently against these sorts of teams. So Bradford to win.
Fantastic. League One game of the week then, what have we picked out?
Toulouse against Keighley, although I'm not really sure we need to pick Toulouse anymore because it's almost becoming a walkover for them this year that they're going that well.
Yeah. We might as well change their name to Win. Carry on.
But obviously Toulouse are the top side, unbeaten. Keighley are in 4th position in the league but have recently won the iPro Sport Cup, so 2 winning sides here going head to head, and we will see how they get on. I would be backing the home side to win by a couple of scores at least, but you never know. Keighley are a tough side and have tripped other people up before.
They certainly are, but I would be inclined to go with you. I would pick home. I would pick to lose by about between 20 and 28. I would say for this one. Yeah. Okay, what stands out for us in the NRL this week then, Mark?
There's only 4 games this week. And I've just picked ones with English players in them. Obviously, Rabbitohs versus Eels on Friday, Dragons versus Storm on Saturday.
There you go. So keep your eyes peeled to Premier Sports to catch up on those ones. Right, that's your Super League pod. Well and truly finished for the week. All that remains now is for us to wrap up the show. Right, so that's episode 104 of Super League Pod in the bag. As we start to wrap up the show, Mark, it's nice to be back and getting through the Super League Pod. Looking at the time of day, this has been a bit of a quick effort for us. We've had a bit of a sprint through this, haven't we?
Seems that way, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how things are cut up in the edit. SLP recommends. Have you got anything to recommend for us this week, Mark?
Yes.
Wonderful. What have you got?
A new app that's out there for all you rugby league podcast loving people. I'm not sure if it's out yet for everyone to listen to. It's sort of being tested at the moment by us podcasters, but Stuart Morris, who runs the League Culture podcast, which you can catch every month to find out about international affairs from the lesser discussed nations. He's set up. It's called Leaguecast. It's in the Google Play Store. I don't think there's an iTunes. I don't think there's an iPhone version available yet.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, it's called Leaguecast, and all the podcasts are there. Really, he's adding more and more as people sort of put them onto them. There's also a link through to listen to RL Internet Radio, which is back up and running, but the tuning radio version of that isn't of RL Internet Radio isn't working anymore. Chris, who runs that's trying to sort out the servers, is onto a new sort of hosting system, and needs to figure out getting that onto the tuning platform. Now you can still listen to that though through the website, and we will be on it if you want to listen to the show intermittently through the week, along with all our friends. Devil in the Detail, Sharkcast.
Yeah.
There's a Rabbitohs one that's on there now that I don't know much about. Ladies Who League. You can check those gals out, those Sheilas, see what they're up to. And yeah.
Were you purposely going out of your way to be either anti-Australian or sexist then, or did that just happen naturally?
I threw in the Sheilas because they're Australian girls, aren't they? Who do
those gals.
But yeah, so Leaguecast, an app, I find it useful. I'll be giving Stuart some feedback on things that might be cool if you can get them into development.
We'll make a note and get that down there. Leaguecast.
It's worth checking out if you're an Android user.
There you go. Okay, fantastic. I have an SLP recommends this week, Mark, and it'll be something that you're probably fairly familiar with, but it's a new band that I properly discovered over the weekend while I was away. And in the interests of full disclosure, it is a band that a mate of ours is in. He's an acquaintance. But the reason I'm recommending it is because sometimes when your mates are in bands, I'm thinking specifically of my mates and talking about me. You think, covers band and what have you, and you go along to cheer them on. But I think it's fair to say that our mate Sean is legitimately a very talented musician, and his band, Do Pig, which is spelled D-U with an umlaut and then pig as in P-I-G, are actually very, very good. And you can download their album from iTunes, I think they're on Spotify. You can get them off the Google Play Store. They've put it all up there. What they sound like, I don't know if you've listened to it, but to my mind, they're a three-piece band. So
I saw the video that they did, so that's all I really
guitar,
heard.
bass guitar and drummer. If you get into the album, it's a very, very well-produced album. They sound a bit like, there's a bit of Nirvana in there, there's some of those high-pitched kind of falsetto harmonies that you get on like Weezer tracks from time to time. The bass player's tremendously gifted as well. Sean does the singing and plays the guitar. It's a really, really good album if you want to harken back to kind of those grungy sounds that we liked as kids, but it's very, very mature and well produced. The band are called Do Pig, and the album, interestingly enough, is called Cavattle, as in Cavattle Do Pig, but it's C''THATTUL. But if you search for Do Pig on iTunes or on Google Play, you'll find them, and I can heartily recommend it. I know it sounds like I'm plugging my mate's thing, but seriously, give them 15 minutes of your life if you like that sort of guitar music, and you'll definitely enjoy Do Pig.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good recommends that.
No problem at all. Thank you very much. Well, I've got a few in the lot. I've got a few in my locker now because I've picked up a couple more from my week away and like a couple of beers that I want to talk about and things. But I'm just, I'm keeping my powder dry rather than having like a week of 4 or 5 recommends and then next week going
Morrison's bacon and cheese pork pies with a lattice top.